Welcome to our exploration of vertical gardening, a beautiful and practical way to bring more plants into your life regardless of how much space you have. Today, we're going to journey through the world of growing upward instead of outward, discovering how this method not only saves space, but also brings plants closer to our daily lives, offering their many wellness benefits right at our fingertips. Whether you live in an apartment with just a balcony, a home with a small yard, or even just have a sunny wall indoors, vertical gardening opens up possibilities you might not have imagined. Let's begin by understanding what vertical gardening truly is and why it's become such an important approach for modern plant lovers. Vertical gardening is simply the practice of growing plants upward rather than spreading them across the ground. This can take many forms: living walls where plants grow directly on vertical surfaces, trellises that support climbing plants, stacked planters that create towers of greenery, or even simple shelves arranged to maximize vertical space. The concept isn't new. People have been training vines up walls and creating espaliered fruit trees for centuries, but today's innovations make it more accessible than ever. What makes vertical gardening particularly special for our channel's focus on plant-based wellness is how it brings healing plants into closer proximity with our daily lives. When herbs for digestion like mint and chamomile, vegetables rich in nutrients like kale and cherry tomatoes, and medicinal plants like lavender and echinacea are growing vertically on your balcony or kitchen wall, they're not just plants in a distant garden. They become living companions that you interact with daily. This proximity matters because research shows that simply being around plants can reduce stress, improve mood, and enhance mental clarity. A vertical garden creates what I like to call a wellness wall, a living tapestry of plants that supports your health just by being present in your space. Now let's talk about the specific health and wellness benefits that vertical gardening makes more accessible. First, consider the nutritional advantages. When you grow vegetables vertically, you're more likely to harvest them at peak freshness. Freshly picked greens like spinach, lettuce, and arugula retain more of their vitamins and antioxidants compared to store-bought options that may have traveled for days. Climbing vegetables like pole beans, peas, and cucumbers thrive in vertical systems, providing you with fiber-rich foods that support digestive health. Herbs grown vertically, think basil for its anti-inflammatory properties, thyme for respiratory support, and rosemary for cognitive function, are right there when you need them for cooking or tea making. The convenience of having these plants within arm's reach means you're more likely to incorporate them into your meals, naturally boosting your intake of plant-based nutrients. Beyond nutrition, vertical gardens contribute to what environmental psychologists call biophilic design, incorporating natural elements into built environments. Studies have shown that spaces with living plants can lower blood pressure, reduce anxiety, and improve concentration. A vertical garden in your home or workspace creates a calming visual focus, helps purify the air by absorbing pollutants, and increases humidity in dry indoor environments. For those interested in medicinal plants, vertical systems allow you to grow a diverse pharmacy of healing herbs in minimal space. Imagine a vertical planter containing calendula for skin health, lemon balm for relaxation, peppermint for digestion, and holy basil for stress adaptation, all growing together in a compact, beautiful display. The act of tending to these plants, checking their moisture, observing their growth, harvesting leaves for tea, becomes a mindfulness practice that grounds you in the present moment and connects you to natural cycles. Now, let's get practical. How do you actually create a vertical garden? The good news is that there are options for every skill level and budget. For absolute beginners, start simple. Repurpose a shoe organizer with pockets, fill them with potting mix, and plant herbs in each pocket. Hang this on a sunny wall or balcony railing. You'll be amazed at how well many herbs grow in these conditions. Another beginner-friendly option is using hanging baskets at different heights to create vertical interest. For those ready to invest a bit more, modular vertical planting systems are available that include built-in irrigation, making watering more efficient. These systems often use felt pockets or rigid planters that attach to frames, creating living walls that can support a surprising variety of plants. When choosing plants for vertical gardening, consider their light requirements, growth habits, and water needs. Most vertical gardens work best with plants that have shallow root systems or can tolerate confined spaces. Leafy greens like lettuce, kale, and Swiss chard are excellent choices. They grow quickly, don't require deep soil, and provide continuous harvests when you pick outer leaves. Herbs are vertical garden superstars. Parsley, cilantro, oregano, sage, and chives all adapt well to vertical growing. For flowering plants that attract pollinators, which is especially important if your vertical garden is outdoors, consider nasturtiums. Their edible flowers add color to salads, or trailing plants like sweet potato vine for visual appeal. If you have a sturdy vertical structure, climbing plants like beans, peas, and certain cucumber varieties can create beautiful living curtains of greenery. One of the most important aspects of successful vertical gardening is understanding light. Most edible plants need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight daily to thrive. Observe your space throughout the day. Which walls or areas receive the most light? South-facing walls typically get the most sun in the northern hemisphere. If your space is shaded, don't worry. Many leafy greens and herbs like mint, parsley, and certain lettuces can tolerate partial shade. You can also use reflective surfaces or supplemental grow lights to enhance light availability. Watering is another crucial consideration. Vertical gardens often dry out faster than traditional gardens because they're more exposed to air circulation. Drip irrigation systems can be incredibly helpful, especially for larger installations. For smaller setups, regular hand watering works fine, just be consistent. The key is to water thoroughly until moisture runs out the bottom, then allow the soil to approach dryness before watering again. Overwatering is as problematic as underwatering, as it can lead to root rot. Touch the soil with your finger. If the top inch feels dry, it's time to water. This simple practice of checking soil moisture becomes another way to connect mindfully with your plants. Soil quality matters tremendously in vertical gardening, where root space is limited. Use a high-quality potting mix specifically formulated for containers. These mixes are lighter than garden soil and provide better drainage and aeration. Consider adding compost or worm castings to enrich the soil with beneficial microorganisms that support plant health. Every few months, you can refresh the soil by removing the top layer and adding fresh compost or a balanced organic fertilizer. This feeding ritual becomes an opportunity to nurture your plants and observe their growth up close. Now let's address some common challenges and solutions. Drainage is critical. Ensure your vertical system allows excess water to escape, or you'll face root problems. If you're creating your own system, include drainage holes and consider a catchment system at the bottom to prevent mess. Weight is another consideration. A fully watered vertical garden can be heavy, so make sure your wall or structure can support it. Start small and expand as you gain confidence. Pests can sometimes find vertical gardens, but the elevated position often reduces ground-dwelling pests. For aphids or other insects, try gentle solutions like spraying with diluted soapy water or introducing beneficial insects like ladybugs if your garden is outdoors. The beauty of vertical gardening is that problems are easier to spot and address early because the plants are at eye level. This leads me to perhaps the most profound benefit of vertical gardening, the relationship it fosters between you and plants. When plants are growing vertically in your living space, you notice subtle changes: a new leaf unfurling, flowers beginning to form, the way morning light filters through delicate herb leaves. This daily observation deepens your understanding of plant cycles and needs. You become more attuned to seasonal changes, even in an indoor garden. The harvest becomes a regular ritual rather than an occasional event. Imagine stepping onto your balcony to snip fresh basil for your morning eggs, or reaching to your kitchen wall garden for mint leaves to steep in afternoon tea. These small acts connect you to the source of your food and medicine, fostering gratitude and mindfulness. For families, vertical gardens offer wonderful opportunities to involve children in growing food. The accessible height makes it easy for little hands to help with planting, watering, and harvesting. Children who grow their own vegetables are more likely to eat them, establishing healthy eating patterns early. Watching seeds become plants becomes a living science lesson about life cycles, photosynthesis, and ecosystems. Even in urban environments far from traditional farms, vertical gardens demonstrate that food doesn't magically appear in supermarkets. It grows through care, patience, and connection to the earth. Sustainability is another important aspect of vertical gardening. By growing some of your own food, you reduce packaging waste and transportation emissions associated with store-bought produce. Vertical gardens can be created using repurposed materials. Old pallets transformed into planters, recycled bottles converted into hanging gardens, or unused gutters mounted on walls. These projects not only reduce waste, but also spark creativity. The water efficiency of well-designed vertical systems, especially those with drip irrigation or self-watering features, often exceeds that of traditional gardens, as water goes directly to plant roots with minimal evaporation. As we consider the broader implications, vertical gardening represents a shift toward more integrated living with nature. In increasingly urbanized environments, it offers a way to maintain our connection to growing things. The plants in your vertical garden do more than provide food. They clean your air, reduce noise pollution when placed strategically, and create habitats for beneficial insects if you include flowering plants. They remind us that we're part of natural systems, not separate from them. This awareness can inspire more sustainable choices in other areas of life, from reducing plastic use to supporting local agriculture. Before we conclude, let me share a simple project you can start this week: a vertical herb garden in your kitchen. Find a sunny wall space near a window. You'll need a hanging pocket organizer. The fabric kind with clear pockets works well, potting mix, and herb seedlings or seeds. Fill each pocket halfway with potting mix, add your herbs, try a combination of basil, thyme, parsley, and mint, then add more soil to cover the roots. Water thoroughly and hang in your chosen spot. In just a few weeks, you'll have fresh herbs for cooking and tea. Notice how having these living plants in your kitchen changes the energy of the space. Observe your own response when you reach for a sprig of rosemary or inhale the scent of fresh basil. This small vertical garden becomes a daily reminder of nature's abundance and your ability to cultivate wellness. As we've explored today, vertical gardening is much more than a space-saving technique. It's a pathway to deeper connection with plants and their many gifts. Whether you're growing vegetables for nutrition, herbs for wellness, or flowers for beauty, growing upward brings these benefits into closer relationship with your daily life. The simplicity of starting small, the satisfaction of harvesting your own food and medicine, the calming presence of living greenery. These experiences contribute to holistic well-being in ways that complement other healthy practices. I encourage you to look at your space with new eyes. Where could you add a vertical garden? What plants would bring you the most joy and nourishment? Remember that every gardener begins with a single plant, and every vertical garden starts with a decision to grow something. However you choose to begin, may your vertical gardening journey bring you closer to the wisdom of plants and the wellness they offer. If you found this exploration of vertical gardening helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more plant wisdom. We'll continue sharing practical ways to grow wellness in your own space.